can go through, and I was playing this a little too low, but go through all these chords, move myself down here, and go through each of these chords, and I'm just taking a song and a progression and applying, well, playing the chords of that progression. So now I'm working these chords in a fashion that is more like actual music, rather than, okay, let me go circle of fifths, let me do this. I'll be honest with you, I never really practiced stuff circle of fifths. Did I say that? Yes, I did say that. I never really practiced stuff circle of fifths, to be honest with you. I was more of a, hey look, if we're going to be applying this to tunes, let's practice the tunes. Let's apply it to tunes. Let's not I'm not going to play the circle of fifths on a gig. I'm going to play a tune on a gig. So that's always been my approach, is like, let's not wait until tomorrow, something that we can do today. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's apply it to a song right now. Circle of fifths is great for theory. So yeah, I'd have you circle of fifths for theory, 2-5-1s and all that. Tritone substitutions, all that is good for circle of fifths. But in terms of practicing, okay, let me practice my major scale. Now let me go up a fifth. Now, and that's what? No, I'd rather do something in which, let me see if I can randomly move to a different scale. A flat, E flat, E, C, B, G, A flat, B. Just randomly move to a different scale rather than sticking to something very mechanical. I think you'll notice that if you practice mechanically, your playing will sound mechanical, right? And what I mean by practicing mechanically is if you do the same thing the same way every day, then you're going to stunt your growth, all right? Because what's going to happen is if you're constantly doing your major scales, okay, when I sit down and practice, I do my major scales, all 12 major scales, up and down, 2 octaves. I start on C and I end on C, and that's my practice routine every day. I would say to you, first of all, if you do that, hats off to you. Great job. Keep practicing your major scales. I would just say, I'd want to tweak that a little bit. I don't want you to just go from C to C, and go up chromatically to each one. Instead, try changing that around. And then if you always start from down here, and start from down here and go up, well, have you ever tried starting from the top and going down? I mean, try it, and then see, do you have any rub there? Is there any mistake? Well, what about going from that, then into a chromatic scale, and then into another scale? What about going randomly? What about going by minor thirds? What about doing this? Practicing, let me see, what's a good way of doing this? I would go down 1 octave. Yeah, do this. Yes, I went down an octave in the right hand, went up 2 octaves in the left hand, then down. Right? Stuff like that really starts to mess with your brain. But for me as a player, that's what I want. I want to try and mess with my brain as many different ways as I can, so that I'm oh man, really try and shake up, my concept of music. Right? That's the way I've always kind of learned. I've just always done things a little bit differently, and it kind of shows in my playing. The way I play is a little bit different than some other players play. And I've been learning over the years to not judge that. Rather than me judging, well, I'm not really a bebop player. You know what? I play the way I play. You like it, you don't like it, that's up to you, but you know what? I play the way I play. In terms of bebop, definitely bring in that chromatic scale. The chromaticism, work that chromatic scale, all right? So just really work as many exercises as you can using that chromatic scale. Again, bringing in over the blues, you have a C7 chord, you just do your basic chords. So I'm just going up and down my chromatic scale, just trying to stay loose. I might try and hit a specific note, say, okay, let me start on my 7th, get down to my 3rd. I could try doing stuff like, you know, like kind of do a half step below each of those chord tones. So I'm going a half step below the C, below the E, below the G, below the B flat, G. Yeah. Yeah. See, now right there, that's a great exercise. I would have to practice this myself. And one of the hard things about this is what's great about live. One of the difficult things about this is fingering. So here I have, you know, it takes me a second. When I'm trying to do this live, it's like my fingering was kind of messing up. So it's a great thing for me to have to slow it down a little bit and think about it. So I did thumb, second, middle, thumb, second, middle, thumb, and you know, like 4 or 3, 2, 3, 1, 2. Is that the best fingering? No, but that's what I just came up with there, right? But exercises like that challenge my brain and my fingers, because now I'm not playing something set the same way every day. Now I'm doing something a little bit different, and I'll tell you, it adds a lot of spontaneity, a lot of creativity to your practice routine. Where it gets difficult is you might start to feel like you have a lack of structure, because especially if you change too much, right? So what you might want to do is have 3 or 4 or 5 different, you know, some of those foundational, like we've talked about before, some of those foundational concepts that you can practice, like, you know, bringing in the chromaticism, you know, doing free form improvisation, you know, just doing eighth notes, practicing your scales in opposite directions, you know, doing 2 different scales. I love doing this one too. So I'm doing an E flat major scale in my right hand, doing a C major scale in my left hand. Wow, that'd be cool. That's great. So I went E flat in my right hand, C in the left, and then I moved then to E flat in the left, and then C in the right. Oh man, that's tough. You know, that kind of stuff really messes with your brain. But I believe, and I know this from personal experience, that kind of stuff challenges your brain, challenges your fingers, but that's where you really start to see some massive growth in your playing, because now you're not bound by these concepts of like, oh, this is what's right and what's wrong. Now you're just bound by like, well, what do I feel like doing? You know? Like, what sound am I looking for? Like when you do, like an E major scale with an E flat scale down here. So I'm doing all of this constant structure, all these triads. Now, of course, there's a time and a place to play it like this. You know, if you're going to do a cocktail hour gig, right, and they're looking for Frank Sinatra songs, you're probably not going to play like that. Well, if you do, you probably won't get the gig ever again, right? So there's a time and a place for that type of playing, okay? But that's the kind of stuff that I like doing, you know, like with my improves, like really taking that, really stretching that harmony and seeing how far I can take it. All right, let me see what else I got here. Ave was like saying the big difference for me between fills and straight improv is I need to be able to get back to the melody, so it's necessary to know the melody really well. Love the lessons. Thank you, Ava. Yes, you absolutely have to know the melody really well, and also what it does is when you have a fill, it's like a very short improvisation. You really have like maybe 2 beats, 3 beats, maybe a measure, and then that's it. So now it's not just needing to know the melody, but it's needing to know your constraints of improvisation. So now you know, okay, I got a measure here, right? Just like a drummer. A drummer has like a 1 measure fill. That 1 measure or 2 measures is an improvisation. That drummer is able to do whatever they want within that 2 measures, as long as, bam, on measure 3 at beat 1, they're right back there. Okay? So it's knowing the melody, but it's also knowing what are your parameters. How much time do you have? And this is where you start to feel, okay, this is 2 beats, this is 3 beats, this is 4 beats. And what I mean by that is, okay, this is 2 beats that I have to fill. What does that feel like in time? You know, so I know how much I can put in there. I know I can get 4/8 notes in there. I know I can get 8/16 notes in there. Practicing those 2 beat fills, 3 beat fills, 4 beat fills is really fantastic. All right. Let's see. I think. Could you cover the sequence of minor 2 preceding the dominant 7th and other chord sequences and building on a lead sheet? Sure. Let me do that one, and that's going to be my last question. But then there was one other one up here. V-Lines, do you have any thoughts on what beats to add right-hand chords onto a single note melody? Not quite sure what that means. To be honest, I'm not quite sure what that question means. So if you're still on, give me a little bit more on that one. Ableton Push, this is from Cat and Beats. Ableton, I thought Ableton was software. So classes in jazz theory, here's my shameless plug. If you're looking for jazz theory and stuff, Piano with Willie Live. Like I said, we're doing the 50%. All through Black Friday, up through next week. After that, it's going to go to $39.95. So if you want to lock in, you're able to get these types of theory lessons live, ask questions. So it's a really great deal. Check out Piano with Willie Live. All right, covering the sequence of a minor 2 preceding the dominant 7th. Our dominant motion, I have a lot of lessons, and by the way, I hope you all stick around because we have a drawing here, don't forget, of who's going to win the free Skype lesson. So I'm going to do that in just a second, right after I answer this question. So let me just kind of like make let me simplify this a little bit. If I'm trying to get to F major, okay, I know that with any chord that I'm trying to get to, I can precede, which means come before that chord, with its related dominant 7th chord. To find a related dominant 7th chord of any chord, you can go to the 5th note of that chord's major scale, so it'd be C in this case, or an easier way is count down 5 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Don't count the note you're starting on, or the one that you're trying to get to, I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, the reason that this method is a little bit nicer, the counting down 5 half steps, is because we can think, oh, it's a 5/7 chord, down 5 half steps. You know, we can kind of keep that 5, right? So we have a C7 chord, leads us to the F. You see that the 7th of the dominant and the 3rd resolve up to the root and 3rd. Okay? Now, same thing happens for our minor 2 chord. So if when we have our dominant chord, we can precede that dominant chord with its related 2 minor chord. Okay? Now to get that again, guess what? Count down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Build a minor chord on that note. G minor 7, C7 to F. G minor, C7 to F. Now I can also, rather than playing that as a 2 minor chord, I can play that as a 2 dominant 7th chord. nice sound as well. 2-7 to a 5-7 to a 1. Okay? Now typically we would call this 5-7 to 5 to 5 to 1. Okay? So, and I can keep going with that. I can keep extending that out. I could go then count down 5 from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could do D minor 7 to G7 to C7 to F. Okay? And I can start to bring in my tritone substitutions as well. Go to A flat, half step above the G, then bring me down, back down to G minor, C7, F, you know. I want to go back to that A flat. I can precede the A flat dominant 7th chord with its related to E flat minor 7, A flat 7, G minor 7, C7, F. I can come down in dominance, A flat, G, G flat, F. So all of these variations are variations on that dominant motion in the preceding 2 chord. You know, so it's really all dominant motion is really what's going on there. That 5, 5, 5, 5. That would take up, we could go through that and that would take up easily an hour right there. We'll end up doing stuff like that in the Piano with Willie Live. So if you like that kind of stuff, you want to get in and know more of that kind of stuff, please check out the Piano with Willie Live, all right? I'm excited to get going with students. We're going to be starting this actually in December. I haven't mentioned that. We're going to be starting this in December. We're going to be going live with this in December. Like I said, there's going to be 2 classes per month, and we're going to add on more classes as time goes on. But this is a great way to really interact in a live situation. You don't have to be a member of the site, okay? You don't have to be a student online with me. You know, you could just do the Piano with Willie Live. You could do just the membership. You can do a combination of both. You could do none of it, right? You can just check out my free live training once a month. But the thing that's nice about the Piano with Willie Live is that there's going to be fewer people on it, so I'll really be able to like sink my teeth into the questions a little bit more. All right, so now let's pick our Skype winner. So we've had a bunch of students submit their name and why they would like to study with me. Over this holiday, Black Friday holiday season here, I picked a winner on Wednesday, picked one this morning, picking another one right now, and then I'm going to pick another winner tomorrow. So there's still one more chance for you to be able to win that free Skype lesson. There's no strings attached to it. The only thing you need to do is when we contact you, just make sure you contact us back within 24 hours. Otherwise, we're going to pick a different winner. All right? So, without further ado, let me go ahead and shuffle these up. Let me get someone in here. All right, what do I got? Okay, who do we have here? Mark Thomas! Mark Thomas, you are the lucky winner of the free 30-minute Skype lesson. So we will be in touch with you at your email address, so look for that email from us and just reply back to us within 24 hours, and we will set up the time. The Skype lessons will be starting in December, okay? Or maybe late next week, we'll see. Right, so anyway, thank you all very much for participating in this live session. I want to remind you that tomorrow we're going to be live again tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You're going to want to check out tomorrow because we're going to do some fun stuff, or we're going to try and do some fun stuff. We're still getting all the technology stuff together. We'll probably end up doing another YouTube, live YouTube, and then maybe also a, well, I'm not sure if we're going to do a GoToMeeting as well. I think we're only going to do one tomorrow because it'll make sense once you see the live stuff, all right? So anyway, join me tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be running in the turkey trot, doing a 5K. So I will be, you know, thinking of my students and, you know, and pushing it, and I'll let you know how I did, what my time was tomorrow. All right, so anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in live, and have yourself a great night.